Hello and good morning. Happy Monday. So, for our lesson plan for algebra today, we are going ahead and we are just going back to do some review on equations. We have a short homework assignment right here where we have 8 problems of varying difficulty. Today, I'm going to really quick just review our goal for solving equations and how to just do two-step equations here. You guys should know how to do all of this. So if you just jump right to that homework assignment, that's okay. I'll have the answers posted, but you need to show all of your work. So we're going to jump right into our goal for solving equations. We have to isolate the variable. Another way of saying that is solve for the variable, like solve for x. You guys might remember that. We do that by using the inverse operations. Take a second and think if you can remember what that means. Go ahead and pause if you want to. So you might remember inverse operations, that's going to be opposite, and our golden rule. Whatever you do to one side of the equation, you must do to the other. So you can't just do something to one side. So our steps, we draw a line down the middle, splitting the problem into two parts, use the inverse operation to isolate the variable. That's going to be subtraction, addition, division, multiplication, exponents in parentheses in this order. So remember, what are the inverse operations? Subtraction and addition, division and multiplication. For exponents, when we see an exponent, what do we actually do? We take the square root, right? Square root. And when we have see parentheses, it really depends on what we're seeing, but a lot of the times, like with parentheses, if you have the whole parentheses with an exponent on it, sometimes we're going to distribute. We also usually will have an option to, like if you see 3 times something in parentheses, you can just divide by 3 right away, or you could distribute through. I don't know if we're going to get to that today, but just remembering with parentheses, we're going to have a little bit of options. So let's move on to the first problem. These are going to be the simplest ones. We're going to do our line here just for fun. X plus 4 equals -3. So this is an easy one-step equation. I see plus 4. I know I have to subtract 4 because I'm doing the opposite. X equals -7, right? That's basic. You guys know how to do that by now. Example number 2. We're getting to two-step equations. What does that mean? You got to do 2 different things. So, pause, take 30 seconds to try to solve this. All right, thanks for giving that the old college try. So I see times 7. Actually, this is a one-step still, sorry. This is a one-step. Correct, I'm corrected. So 7 times x, I have to do the opposite, which is divide by 7. I get x equals -8. X equals -8, right? That's what we should have gotten there. All I do is I see what's being done and I do the opposite. Example number 3. Take 30 seconds to try to solve this. M divided by 4 equals 9. So go ahead and pause. All right, so you guys might have seen M divided by 4. What's the opposite of division? Times 4, right? I do the opposite. Times 4. M equals -36. So I just do the opposite. Those were all one step. Now we're going to get to a little more difficult. These are now 2 steps. This is next level of difficulty. Still not too crazy. Take 30 seconds, pause. You might be able to just do this one in your head. All right, so what do I undo first? I have 3 times x minus 4. I actually undo in the opposite order of operations, right? I do addition and subtraction first. So plus 4 to both sides. 3x equals 21. Now I have 3 times x equals 21. I'm going to divide by 3, divide by 3, the opposite of multiplication, right? X equals 7. That's what you guys should have got. If you're not getting that, double check. Here's what you can double check now that we have multiple steps. Did I do my orders in the correct order? Did I undo subtraction and addition first, then division, multiplication, then exponents, square roots, etc., then parentheses? We want to make sure we do that. Our next 2 steps, so we have to make sure we follow the inverse order of operations again. Addition and subtraction first. Take 30 seconds, pause, try to do that. All right, thanks for trying to do that. So I see I have n divided by 5 plus 8. I undo addition first. So I subtract 8 first, right? Does that make sense? I undo first. The addition and subtraction, the inverse order of operations. N equals 5. Now I have n divided by 5. Now I have n divided by 5. The opposite of dividing by 5 is multiplying by 5. You might also put it as 5 over 1. Some people will do that so they know that they can cross out. They multiply this by 5. And we get negative, I'm on the wrong side here. Negative 25. 5 times negative 5 equals n. That's what we should have gotten there. Good work, guys. One last 2-step equation here. Before we're going to move on to a little bit more difficult, we'll have some integers. Or we've had integers. We'll have some rational numbers like fractions and decimals. Make things fun, fun, fun. All right, so 9x minus 9 equals 72. Take 30 seconds and try to solve this one in your head. All right, so let us add 9, add 9. Why did I do 9 before I divide by 9 here? I undo addition and subtraction first, right? 9x equals 81. Now 9 times x equals 81. I'm going to divide by 9, the opposite. Do the inverse, do the inverse. Always, always, always do the inverse. And make sure you do it to both sides. I'm crazy, I know. Okay, x equals 9. 81 divided by 9 is 9. 9x divided by 9 is x. We know how to do this by now, right? But now is where we get thrown off a little bit. We have some more difficult questions here. What happens when we have some stuff like this? Hoo doggy. They get a little bit more difficult, right? So let's say we have negative 2 2/3 plus 1/2 x equals negative 3 11/21 x. We actually have a pretty difficult question right here, right? I'm going to ask you guys pause this and try to do it on your own real quick. It's not easy necessarily. So we still have what? Negative 2 2/3 plus 1/2 x equals negative 3 11/21. I have addition and multiplication times 1/2 on this side, right? Right in this side here, I've got 2 operations. It's still 2 steps. Just the decimals or fractions in these problems make it difficult. Negative 2 2/3. Okay? So I'm going to add 2 2/3 to both sides. 2 2/3. I know my handwriting is terrible, but those cancel out. And I am left with 1/2 x. Okay. Now, you guys now have to take a look at 2/3. and 11 21s. I have to look for my greatest common factor, right? Greatest common denominator, sorry. We just finished factoring. Greatest common denominator, right? Least common denominator. Least, I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. I have to look for my least common denominator. I have to multiply this by 7 over 7 because I want both of them to have 21 on the bottom. And I'm going to get 21 over, or 14 over 21 on the bottom, right? Isn't that what we're going to get on the bottom now? 14 over 21 plus, so now we are adding 2 and 14 over 21. So negative 3 plus 2 is 1. 11, negative 11 plus 4 is actually positive 3. But we actually we're going to make this negative 2. And so this is a little difficult. Negative 3, right here, I have negative 3 and 11 over 21. And I'm going to turn this into negative 2, and I'm going to turn that other 1 into a 21 over 21. So when I do that, I add 21 to 11, and I get 32 over 21. So now, when I add the 14 to negative 32, we get 1/2 x equals 18 over 21, right? 1/2 x equals 18 over 21. So that wasn't necessarily that easy, wasn't necessarily that difficult either. You guys on your homework, I'll be honest with you, you need to show every step. But you can check with a calculator, right? You need to show the work, but you can check with a calculator. Your work has to be shown or you don't get credit. X equals, I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. 36 over 21. X equals, I can divide both those by 3. 12 over 7. So I'm going to write that out right here because it's a little messy. X equals 12 over 7. So try on 5. Try on number 6 real quick. I'm not going to show all the work because I don't know how useful it is for me to show you this work with this chicken scratch handwriting. Take a minute and try number 5, and I'll just do it in my head so you can check your work against it. I'm going to clear up some space here now. So negative 29.52 equals 2.6 V plus 2.2. So really, I have to subtract 2.2. I'll show the work. What the heck? Minus 2.2. Negative 29.52 minus 2.2 is negative 31.72 equals 2.6 V. Now I have one operation I have to do. I have to divide by 2.6. So this is still a two-step equation, right? 2.6, and I get V equals, I'm going to use a calculator for this one. I could do that one longhand, but we don't necessarily need to show we can do that right now. 31.72 divided by 2.6. Is that what it was? Yep. And I get 12.2. That's going to be negative. Keep the negative, right? A negative divided by a positive is negative 12.2. So that's a pretty simple one, right? And you can just show your work just like that on the homework questions later on that you have to do. All right, so that's pretty simple. Go ahead and pause if you need to check your work. And we're going to do, oops. We're going to do, thanks for bearing with me. We're going to do just the last problem here. Negative 1.2 plus 8.7 minus 2.2. Okay, take 30 seconds and try to do this last one on your own. Okay, good work trying. Thank you. I'm going to add 1.2. Do the opposite. Undo addition first to both sides. X over 8.7 equals negative 1. That's an even number. Now I have to do multiplication times 8.7 and times 8.7. X equals negative 8.7. Look at that. So you guys know everything we're doing today. I believe in you guys. Email me if you have questions about the homework. Otherwise, get going and have fun. Thanks and have a great day.